Alex Trebek, Steve Jobs, and Ruth Bader Ginsburg are some of the most beloved and well-known people who have suffered from pancreatic cancer, one of the top 3 leading causes of cancer-related deaths in America. And while the facts are dismal, one organization has a can-do approach to tackling this disease. Here to inform us about common signs and symptoms for Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month is Pancreatic Cancer Action Network President and CEO, Julie Fleshman. Julie, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so Julie, can you tell us about PanCAN and what your organization does?
Absolutely. PanCAN is a national patient advocacy organization. We are funding research to find early detection strategies and better treatments for the disease. We provide patient services to patients and families who are currently dealing with the disease. We raise awareness and educate the public. We advocate in Washington, D.C. for increased federal resources. So really all of the activities that are necessary in order to accelerate progress for patients.
Oh, that's amazing. And we were just mentioning some of the really big names who have passed away from pancreatic cancer awareness, but this impacts everyone. Why is pancreatic cancer one of the deadliest diseases?
Yeah, so one of the things that makes pancreatic cancer so deadly is that there is no early detection test for the disease. So if you think about where your pancreas is located, it's deep in your abdominal cavity, behind your stomach, in front of your spine. So you can't touch it or feel it. You know, if there was a tumor there, you can't feel it. And there is no early detection test for it. And so because there is no early detection test, we want to make sure that the public is aware of the signs, the symptoms, the risk factors, so that if they are in a risk group or they are experiencing any of the symptoms, that they can go in and talk to their doctor about it.
Why is pancreatic cancer so difficult to detect early on?
So again, it's about where it's located, right? It's deep in your abdominal cavity. We don't have a test, a biomarker or a blood test that would tell us today that someone is developing pancreatic cancer. And so usually by the time the disease is diagnosed, it's late stage and it's already metastasized or spread to other organs. And once it's spread to other organs, it makes it much more difficult to treat.
Got it. So difficult to detect. So are there lifestyle changes we can make now to get us ahead of this disease?
So some of the risk factors, they're not necessarily lifestyle changes. I mean, certainly always eating healthy and, you know, not smoking and some of those things that are common across all being healthy is certainly true of pancreatic cancer too. But some of the risk factors, and I think it's important for people to understand if they fall in a risk group, those families that have a genetic disposition to pancreatic cancer. So if you have more than one family member who's had pancreatic cancer, you might have a hereditary risk of pancreatic cancer, and we would recommend that you talk to a genetic counselor to better understand your risk. We know that African Americans have a higher incidence of pancreatic cancer than any other racial or ethnic group. So that's an important community to educate about their risk. So again, they're aware of it and they're paying attention to their body. We also know that people with long-standing chronic pancreatitis and long-standing diabetes are potentially at risk for pancreatic cancer. So understanding your risk is really important. So again, you can pay attention to your body when you don't feel right, if you're experiencing any of the symptoms, you should immediately go in and talk to your doctor.
And what are some of those key symptoms to be on the lookout for?
Yeah, so some of the most common symptoms are things like abdominal pain, back pain, unexplained weight loss, you're losing weight and you don't know why, digestive problems. One of the more visible symptoms of pancreatic cancer is jaundice, which is the yellowing of the skin or the eyes. Changes in your stool, new onset diabetes can be an early symptom of pancreatic cancer. So again, people can go to pancan.org to learn more about these symptoms as well as the risk factors. And we also have a free downloadable conversation guide that lists all of these symptoms and signs and also has tips for talking to your doctor about these things.
Oh, wow. All helpful information. And we appreciate your work to bring awareness and hopefully one day an end to this disease. Julie, thank you for for joining us. And for more information, you can visit pancan.org.